it's Temple Tuesday. I'm Joey, and no, I am not in the temple sanctuary today. In fact, I'm across the street from the temple in a different building, part of the temple complex still, but we call this the Auditorium. And today I am in the main conference chamber at the Auditorium. Now, this is an important space. It's been a place where discussions have been held that have helped to shape our understanding not only of what it means to be a prophetic people, but also what it means to have a temple and to become a people of the temple. You see, different from your experience might be in the temple where you walk in, and often for people it's this very intimate space and even can be a unique individual experience as it draws your eyes up into this spiral with maybe an encounter at the center of that spiral and then works itself out, and individually and collectively we all go out of that space into mission out in the world. Well, in this space, when you walk into the auditorium's main conference chamber, it is vast. And I think we become immediately aware that we are just one in a much larger community. In fact, we're invited, I believe, by the sense of the design of this room to widen our view, widen our understanding, widen the reach of our eyes and our ears to see and to hear the voices, even into the far-flung rows of this room, as we come into this space to make decisions. Because this is the space where typically every 3 years we hold a world conference with more than 2,000 delegates representing many different nations, many different cultures. You'll hear people speaking all sorts of different languages, and you can even see behind me the translations booth as people will be listening in many different languages to the discussions and the different perspectives that are shared here. We have this perfect song in Community of Christ Sings that I believe explains the purpose of this room, and especially when we come together to make decisions. It goes, "Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song, no one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide." And so our view grows wider in this room as we are brought into community together. Now, President Steve Veazey at the 2019 conference was sitting up front, and he was listening and watching the Graceland University Choir sing one of our now most beloved hymns, "For Everyone Born a Place at the Table." And he said that he not only had a moving experience, but he had a deeply profound experience. It's one of those experiences that moves you beyond just tears, but it moves you into action and reflection, thinking about what God's vision might be for us as a people. And he relates this to Zionic communities, saying that maybe at the heart of what a Zionic community, that might depend on and be based upon the way that we make decisions together. He points out that typically, and this happens often in this room, even at our conferences, that we use a majority vote when we make decisions, 51%, and it passes. He says that this often creates a feeling of winners and losers. And when we think about creating Zionic communities where many people have a voice, where we move forward together in the decisions that we make, is that the best way or the only way to make decisions? Common consent has become an important part of what it means to be a prophetic people, to include the stories and the opinions and the perspectives of many, many voices before we decide to move forward together. And so we have been working on and developing and changing even the way that we make decisions so that we can understand the levels of different support that we might have and hear from those different voices and the different levels of support to help understand where people are coming from. And in fact, we've even developed a document called Faithful Disagreement, which helps us to stand in difficult spaces in the midst of difficult conversations where people might have very differing views, and yet we can still stand together and even worship in those spaces together. So here is your challenge today. I want you to consider how you might be making space, widening your view, giving more space to other perspectives, and how are you preparing yourself for difficult conversations to create more space so that you will hear the different voices and perspectives around you. And I'll also challenge you to go to the website seaofchrist.org and to type into the search bar faithful disagreement and take a look at that document. And if you want to share some of the things you learned through that document, you can put that in the comments below. And we will see you next week.